Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and I'm going to start a new segment on the channel, basically a Q&A segment, because I get a lot of neat questions and comments, and I think some of these questions and comments might be of value to the rest of the channel, so I'm going to share those with you. So this week, we're going to have two interesting letters that came my way. One is from a guy using his Parrot AR drone for first response and some of the things he's done to more cleverly mount his GPS flight recorder device, and also another guy who was trying to use some of these Blackmagic devices, these capture devices, with his PS3, and I found a workaround for some of the copy protections that those devices bring you. But before I do that, I just wanted to plug a couple of channels. The first one is a new one I started called Dad Pro Tips, and you can find that linked below. And what I'm doing there is reviewing gadgets for kids and their parents, some stuff that may not be of interest to people who watch this channel, but if you have a kid or have some kids in your life or family, you might want to check that channel out. I've got 2 reviews up already, and we'll be posting new things as they come. I've got a lot of kids stuff here because I have a 5-month-old daughter, so that's keeping me busy. And the other channel is CT Tech Junkie, and that is a website that I write for about technology. A lot of it's centered on Connecticut, but I'm also covering the space program and some other things too. So got some really cool videos of some NASA space flight footage, especially the SpaceX launch that took place last year. Have a tour of their launch pad and some other stuff. So check that out if you're into space or tech, things that aren't quite reviews that would go in this channel. And the last one is Behind the Video. It's a podcast that I do every week with Tim Street, who's out in Los Angeles, California. And we talk to people who are becoming very successful in the YouTube content space and try to learn some of their secrets. So if you're looking to produce YouTube videos yourself, you might want to check out the podcast. We do about anywhere from about half hour to 45 minutes a week, and try to keep it very succinct and really focus on what our guests are doing to be successful in this space. So that's pretty cool. So let's move on to the letters though, and our first one is from that guy Mario I mentioned. He didn't give his last name, but he wrote in just showing how he was using his GPS flight recorder in a different way than I was. So on my Parrot AR drone, I've been basically leaving it without that shell on there, that protective shell that comes with it, mainly because the Parrot folks recommended not putting on the shell when you're using the flight recorder. And what Mario did was something really simple that I didn't even think of, which was running a USB extender cable out to the top of the unit. So putting the cover on, running one of those extender cables out, and attaching the flight recorder to the top of the case. And that's a great way to add some protection, but also still be able to use the GPS on there. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then Mario started telling me about some of the things he's doing with his drone, which is for first response, for firefighters and EMS and other people that might need a way to get higher to see if there's a safety hazard or something, especially in the case of a fire or something like that. And they're using the drone really not as a hobby or a toy like I'm using it, but to actually save lives. And here's a picture of the rig that he's using. It's really pretty cool. So thanks for sending that along, Mario. So I also got a comment from Squirrel from Grad Life on YouTube. I'm sure that's not his real name, but he had asked me if the Thunderbolt, the Ultra Studio Thunderbolt mini recorder from Blackmagic that I reviewed, if I felt that would be good for recording PS3 game footage. And I said, yeah, I think it would probably be a pretty good tool for that. I record just about anything that you can plug in via HDMI. The only problem with it is that the PS3 tends to protect even its game footage coming out the HDMI cable using HDCP copy protection. You need a way to get around that. And I have this device. I haven't reviewed it yet because I haven't used it yet. I've been watching other YouTube reviews of it, but I figured I would at least give a teaser here before I tried it out with some stuff. This thing is a HDMI converter from DVI, and it's from Monoprice. It's very inexpensive, so it's not going to break the bank. And what you do is you plug in one of these HDMI to DVI connectors. So you plug the DVI in here, the HDMI cable goes into your PS3 or other device you're looking to capture footage from, and then you run the HDMI cable from the output section here to the recorder. And what this thing apparently does, and again I haven't tested it yet for this purpose, but what it will do is kind of take off that copy protection in the process. So you can get a nice clean game signal from the PS3 through this box out to your Intensity Extreme or the Ultra Studio mini recorder or just about anything else that will take unprotected HDMI, and it's a really flexible way to do that. So check that out from Monoprice. It's on Amazon. I'll put a link into the show notes for that on the YouTube page there. And I also recommend not spending too much money on cables, because a friend of mine just wrote to me and said, hey, I got this great expensive cable. I said, you don't really need that. These are cheap cables. I forgot what I paid for this. This is a blue rigger cable that I found on Amazon. But generally with HDMI, you don't really need to spend a lot on this stuff because it's digital. It's either going to work or it's not. But this cable wasn't too expensive, and it did the trick. So thank you to Squirrel from Grad Life for writing in with that question. One other thing I did have a conversation with him about was which Blackmagic device to choose, because I thought maybe that this one, the Intensity Extreme, might be better for him, mainly because it has HDMI in and out. So you could run that HDMI out of here, put it into the input so you can record it, and then run the output to a monitor so you can watch and play with what you're doing on the PS3 in real time. And it does, of course, cost more for this device than it does for the Ultra Studio Mini. And he had said, well, you know what, I'm going to use it with a HDMI splitter and I'll be able to do it that way. And I think that would also work. Now, the one advantage of the Intensity Extreme over the Ultra Studio Mini recorder is that there is a breakout cable that comes with this. And I don't know where I have it at the moment, but you plug this cable in here and you can then run analog audio in from the PS3 as well. So because the one thing that happens when you use this little mini converter thing is that you don't get the audio out of the HDMI. It basically strips it out because it's going to DVI, which doesn't allow audio transport. So take a look at that. But I would say the real killer combo for someone looking to capture PS3 footage beyond some of this stuff from AverMedia, which I haven't tried, would be this HDMI converter and the Intensity Extreme. So check that out. And that'll do it for this first Q&A episode. I want to thank Mario and Squirrel from Grad Life for asking some interesting questions. And I'll start doing more of these. I do owe somebody a review of some more emulators on the Ouya. I've been struggling with a scaler that will get the video into my video system effectively. So hopefully I'm going to get that problem worked out pretty soon. And once I do, I'll have the next Q&A episode hopefully give you some more emulator footage from the Ouya. This is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe to this channel and all my other ones too. Thanks again.